Welcome to Sunday School Lesson at a Glance, a ministry of the Sunday School Publishing Board, where we focus on teaching, engaging, application, and learning for teachers and students.
Now, I will share some teaching tips to use when teaching this week's lesson, October the 11th, entitled Overcoming Self-Interest. Again, our focus is on teaching, application, engagement, and learning. The focus for this month's teaching tips is on learning styles. Students learn and receive information in different ways. Not everyone learns in the same way. The differences or approaches in the way students learn are known as learning styles. To be effective in reaching and teaching and engaging all of our students, we must be knowledgeable of the different ways students learn and incorporate the various learning styles in our teaching approaches. Last week, we focused on the visual learner. Visual learners learn best by seeing, watching, and observing things. This week, we're going to look at the auditory learners. It is important for you as a teacher to know your learning style preferences. How do you learn best? As teachers, if we are not careful, we have a tendency to teach in the modalities that are most comfortable to us. We can't limit how we teach by only teaching one way or the way that is most comfortable to us. Knowing that we have different types of learners that we teach that learn in different ways, we must prepare our teaching to reach all of our students. Let's look at our auditory learners. Auditory learners learn best through hearing and listening. These are your talkers. These are your volunteers when you ask for someone to read or when you ask a question. Auditory learners learn through verbal instruction, class discussions. They like group discussions, any type of verbal interaction, partner activities, partner talk, oral activities, listening, presentations, storytelling. Next week, we will look at the kinesthetic learner. These teaching tips and others are presented in my book, Effective Teaching Practices for 21st Century Christian Educators, and can be purchased through the Sunday School Publishing Board. I am now going to share some engagement activities that you can use when teaching this week's lesson. This can be a small group, partner group, or a whole group class activity. Number 1, Jesus commands us to show love and kindness to our enemies. Have students give examples of how Jesus modeled this for us. So this can be a discussion question, but it's important to not only have discussion around it, but also have some discussion and to give examples of how Jesus modeled this for us. Number 2, discuss the meaning of agape love and give examples on how we can demonstrate this kind of love toward our enemies. So it's important to talk about agape love, but also how can we demonstrate this type of love to our enemies. Another activity is to compare and contrast the world's behavior of love to God's behavior of love. So comparing and getting some input and discussion around the world's behavior of love and God's behavior of love. And this can be a wonderful activity and wonderful discussion to really bring the lesson to everyday life and application for our students. The activity that you use should reinforce and teach the biblical truths of the lesson and contribute to the students being able to apply the biblical truths of the lesson to their everyday life. Thank you for tuning in to Sunday School Lesson at a Glance. I hope these teaching tips are helpful to you as you prepare to teach and study God's Word. For additional information and resources, contact the Sunday School Publishing Board.
We invite you to join us each week as we take a glimpse into the Sunday School lesson. Subscribe now.